Well, welcome back to the drawing room here, and Happy New Year to you all. And we found this a few days ago on the skip at Bexhill. It's amazing what gets chucked out. This is yet another offering for Tesco's supermarket chain, a sort of brand X TV come DVD player. And the stand had broken on it, and it's obviously been dropped. As you can see there, the casing is a bit bashed about. But the funny thing is that it works, and yet it was still thrown away.
There she is.
My baby. Number 99.
You might recognize this car.
I do. It was Chris's car.
Sure was.
And stop, and there you are. Perfectly alright. It's a 21.5-inch widescreen set. Nothing wrong with it at all, as far as I can tell. It's got a built-in Freeview television, which also appears to work. Just after Christmas, it's always a pretty good time to go raiding the bids, so to speak. And this DAB radio by the once great manufacturer Bush was another thing that came to light. Now, when I googled this to find out about problems with it, because apart from the knob on top of the aerial being missing, there seems to be nothing wrong with it. It all came up with the same thing: power supply problems. It's a DAB 042 Espresso. I mean, why they just can't call it a DAB 042 is beyond me. Not sure if we'll get anything out of him, because I don't know if the juice is on, but we should do. Yes, his clock's lit up, and away he goes. There was a power supply still plugged into this, one of those nasty switch mode things, and it had gone fut. There was no output at all, and usually when that sort of thing goes, you've had it, haven't you? You know, it usually takes other components with it in the power supply. Probably can't see it, but the screen on the front works perfectly alright. It all lights up, it says volume. Now it's gone back to classic DAB, light classical, classic FM it's picking up. I'll turn him off there, and he goes back to clock mode on there. There's two tiny little speakers at the side of it, one each side, and a bass reflex port. It does sound a bit boxy, and there's no headphone socket or extension speaker plug, but it might be alright for the shed, as might this thing. Found also, not so long ago, one of those micro system things from the, I think, mid-90s. Amazingly, the front-loading CD player actually worked, and the radio worked. The only thing that wouldn't go was the tape deck because of a stretched belt. Since changed, the tape deck mechanics are really just a Walkman that records. I suspect it's DC bias. And a spray of the very old-fashioned switches on top here that do the function made it all go again. It's a Matsui model. So, once again, more stuff that was really just built with a view to, well, once it fails, you throw it out. And I must stop resurrecting all this junk. It's terrible, isn't it? Anyway, on a vintage front, so to speak, we have a Philips amplifier which came the other day. I suspect this uses the same amplifier circuit as the N2400 cassette deck, and you can see very strange controls for balance, treble, bass and volume, usual sort of push button controls for functions off and on here. It's missing part of the metal face there, but I think we can replicate something that will help that. And it came with a pair of square Philips speakers with holes in the front, round holes in the front. So they actually sound very good, but they will need new plugs. So there we are. That's the latest hauls from the bins for you, and we hope to offer more of the same sort of thing and be getting things resurrected and so on and so forth as time goes on. The missus had a little, well, you would see it there, a Janome sewing machine, and it was driven by a tiny little 6-volt can motor, so if it encountered anything heavier than about tissue paper it would stop. So I've upped the voltage on it because the mechanics will take it, put a bigger 12-volt motor in it, got another power supply to suit, and now we're doing nicely, thank you very much, or so I'm told. Anyway, we'll see you soon, and have a happy new year.